There is something so deeply comforting, so wonderfully nostalgic about the simple act of stirring a spoonful of malted powder into a mug of warm milk. It's a ritual that speaks of childhood, of coziness, and of being looked after. This particular story begins not in a kitchen, but with two brothers from Britain, James and William Horlick. These Victorian gentlemen, one a chemist and the other a mechanic, were driven by a rather noble idea. They wanted to create a food that was both nourishing and easy to digest, a perfect solution for those who struggled with ordinary meals. It was the late 19th century, a time of great innovation, and their particular invention was a testament to the era's can-do spirit. Their creation, a patented blend of dried whole milk, malted wheat, and malted barley, was initially conceived as something quite specific. They called it diastoid, which doesn't quite have the comforting ring we know today, does it? The brothers first set up their company in Chicago in 1873, and it was there that they perfected their process. Their goal was to provide a complete food source, one that would be a true blessing for infants. In an age before modern baby formula was widely available, this was a revolutionary concept. It offered a safe and wholesome alternative for babies who couldn't be breastfed, providing essential nutrients in a form that their delicate systems could easily handle. The magic of their product lay in its simplicity and its scientific foundation. By malting the grains, they broke down the starches into more easily digestible sugars, and by combining this with whole milk powder, they created a shelf-stable, all-in-one nutritional powerhouse. It was initially marketed not just for babies, but also for invalids and those with delicate constitutions. Imagine, in an era of often heavy and hard-to-digest foods, this gentle, warming drink was seen as a miracle of modern food science. It was a food that promised to restore and fortify, a gentle hand to hold for those who were unwell or frail. The name Horlicks was finally trademarked in 1883, and it was under this much friendlier family name banner that the drink truly began its journey into our hearts and homes. The brothers saw its potential far beyond the nursery and the sick room. It was a product that promised goodness and ease, a simple way to get nourishment without any fuss. This foundational idea of Horlicks as a restorative, a gentle and kind food, would become the very essence of its character, a reputation it would carry with it for more than a century, warming generations of families from the inside out. As the 20th century dawned, the clever minds behind Horlicks realized their malted marvel had a much broader appeal than they had first imagined. While it remained a trusted staple in the nursery, its reputation for being a fortifying and easily portable food began to attract a whole new audience. The drink's potential was no longer confined to the four walls of a home or hospital. It became the trusted companion of the daring and adventurous. Famous polar explorers like Richard E. Byrd and Roald Amundsen packed Horlicks on their perilous expeditions to the North and South Poles. It was light to carry, packed with calories, and easy to prepare with just hot water, providing vital warmth and energy in the most unforgiving climates on Earth. This association with rugged explorers and adventurers gave the brand a glamorous, robust edge. It was no longer just for the frail, it was for the fearless. It was the drink that fueled history-making journeys. This clever shift in marketing also extended to the more everyday traveler. Advertisements began to depict people on trains and ships enjoying a flask of Horlicks to sustain them on their journeys. It was positioned as the ideal travel food, a convenient and complete meal that could be enjoyed anywhere, ensuring you were well fed and content, no matter how far from home you were. The message was clear. Horlicks was for everyone, everywhere. Back at home, the marketing also broadened to include the elderly. Horlicks was presented as the perfect nightcap, a gentle drink to help older people get a restful night's sleep and maintain their strength. It was seen as a kind and considerate choice, something to aid digestion and provide comfort during the night. This versatility was its genius. The very same product could be found in a baby's bottle, an explorer's rucksack, and on an elderly person's bedside table. It was a drink that adapted to every stage of life, offering its simple, malty goodness to anyone who needed it. And so Horlicks cemented its place as a true family drink. It became popular simply as a hot, comforting beverage to be enjoyed by anyone at any time. The act of making a Horlicks became a familiar ritual in millions of households, particularly in Britain and India, where it developed an incredibly loyal following. It was the taste of reassurance, a simple pleasure that could be relied upon. The brand had successfully journeyed from a specialized medical food to a beloved household staple, a drink that was synonymous with warmth, comfort, and a peculiar kind of British fortitude. Just when it seemed Horlicks had conquered every possible market, its advertising team came up with a stroke of what can only be described as marketing genius. It was a concept so brilliantly simple yet so effective it would define the brand for decades. They invented a condition, a malady that millions of people suddenly discovered they were suffering from without even knowing it. This phantom illness was called night starvation. The advertisements, often featuring rather anxious-looking individuals, explained that during our long hours of sleep, our bodies were being starved of energy, leading to morning fatigue, irritability, and a general lack of get up and go. The campaign was incredibly persuasive. It tapped into a universal feeling: who hasn't woken up feeling a little groggy and not at their best? Suddenly there was a name for it, a scientific-sounding diagnosis for that common morning slump. Night starvation sounded serious, a genuine problem that needed a solution. The advertisements would pose questions like, do you wake up tired? Are you irritable in the mornings? And millions of people nodding along in their armchairs would think, why, yes, I am. It was a masterful piece of psychological marketing, creating a problem that only one product could solve. And what was the cure for this newly discovered affliction? You can guess, of course, a hot, soothing mug of Horlicks taken just before bed. The advertisements promised that its unique blend of malt and milk would provide a steady release of energy throughout the night, holding night starvation at bay. You would, the ads assured, wake up feeling refreshed, revitalized, and ready to face the day with a spring in your step. It was the perfect narrative, a secret nightly affliction and a simple, delicious remedy. Sales soared as people rushed to protect themselves from this invisible threat. The idea of night starvation became so deeply embedded in popular culture that it was even parodied. The most famous example is in the classic 1960 song Goodness Gracious Me, performed by Peter Sellers and Sophia Loren. In the comedic duet, Sellers, playing an Indian doctor, mishears Lauren's symptoms and diagnoses her with all sorts of comical ailments, at one point suggesting her troubles might be caused by Horlicks disease, a playful nod to the famous night starvation campaign. The fact that it had become a punchline in a hit song shows just how famous and pervasive the advertising concept had become. Today, on this first day of July in 2025, the notion of night starvation makes us smile. We live in an age of nutritional science where we know that for most healthy adults, feeling a bit tired in the morning is perfectly normal and not a sign of a mysterious nocturnal malady. The clever marketing campaign is now remembered as a charming and slightly audacious piece of advertising history, a relic from a more innocent time. Yet, despite the debunking of its most famous selling point, Horlicks has not faded away. It endures, holding a special place in the hearts of many, a testament to the power of comfort and nostalgia. The drink's survival is a story of adaptation and emotional connection. While it may no longer be the go-to for polar explorers, it remains a beloved brand, particularly in the UK and India, where it has become a cultural institution. For generations of people, the malty, sweet taste is inextricably linked with feelings of warmth, safety, and care. It's the drink their mother or grandmother made for them when they were feeling under the weather or couldn't sleep. That powerful association, that taste of home and childhood, is something that modern marketing struggles to replicate. It's a legacy built over decades, one mug at a time. The Horlicks of today might be packaged in a more modern container, and it might even come in different flavors like chocolate or vanilla. But its core appeal remains unchanged. It is, and always has been, about comfort. It's the perfect, gentle end to a long day. A simple ritual that helps us to unwind and switch off from the stresses of the world. It's a hug in a mug, a simple, unassuming pleasure that requires nothing more than a kettle, a spoon, and a quiet moment. In our fast-paced, often complicated world, there is something deeply attractive about that kind of simplicity. So while we may now chuckle at the story of night starvation, we can also raise a warm mug to the enduring charm of Horlicks. It's a drink with a fascinating history, from its earnest beginnings as a food for infants to its audacious marketing campaigns and its role as a cultural touchstone. It reminds us that sometimes the simplest things are the most comforting, and that a little bit of warmth and nostalgia can be the most effective remedy of all. Even without a phantom illness to cure, the gentle, malty goodness of Horlicks continues to soothe and satisfy.